I am very ready for 2026 and to turn the page. Unfortunately, before we can talk about what the Mets will be in 2026, we need to talk about two news items that are, I guess, somewhat involve the Mets in the fact that they're baseball headlines that the Mets decided not to be a part of. We spent some time this offseason, Rich, talking about Tatsuya Imai and Kazuma Okamoto as options for the Mets, as replacements, as upgrades in the rotation, as potential Pete Alonso replacements if he were to find a different home. Well, both have found their new homes for 2026 in the majors, and it will not be the New York Mets. Tatsuya Imai ends up with the Astros, a 3-year, $63 million deal. There's escalators within the contract that get it to $63 million. The base of the contract is $18 million a year, with innings thresholds that, if he clears them, will get them up to around 21 million. Regardless, the fact that he ends up with the Astros with an opt-out after each of the first two seasons is fascinating. According to Mark Feinstein of MLB.com, the Mets weren't sold on Imai as an impact starter. More on that in a second. And then Kazuma Okamoto signed with the Blue Jays, a 4-year, $60 million deal. No opt-outs reported around this contract. Also, no mention of the Mets in any reports connected to Okamoto. I wonder what this means for Bo Bichette, but I will just start here, Rich McLeod. Are you upset that Tatsuya Imai or Kazuma Okamoto did not end up with the New York Mets?
No, I don't think so. The one thing with Imai is looking at how the deal is structured. I'm like, that would have been interesting. That seems like it is in the wheelhouse of the front office. The quote from Feinstein saying that the Mets didn't view him as an impact starter, that actually weirdly makes me more hopeful. I think the initial gut reaction is like, well, you fucking thought Frankie Montas was last year. But I think they might just be evaluating the rotation differently. And if they're saying like Tatsuya Imai, we're not sure about being a frontline starter, it makes me think that they are shooting for higher and we just haven't seen them pull the trigger quite yet because all those guys are still available other than Dylan Cease. So it's kind of my rational take there. Okamoto was never really heavily linked to the Mets. I'm actually shocked that of the three big Japanese guys, he got the most years. He got double what Munetaka Murakami got, which no one ever would have thought that. So that was really surprising to me. I feel like the Blue Jays are probably still in on a Bichette or a Tucker. I don't think 4 years, $60 million is going to knock them out for that kind of thing. I think they have one of the best, one of the most rich ownerships in all of baseball right now. I think they're top 5. So I would expect them to still be big game hunting on one of those two players. But yeah, I'm not particularly upset about it. I didn't think either of these players were going to go to the teams that they wound up on. I thought that was interesting just from a baseball perspective.
The Okamoto contract, him ending up in Toronto while Bo Bichette just is kind of dangling out there. I wonder how much this takes them out of, like I said, his sweepstakes. Does that end that relationship? Seeing the reaction from Blue Jays fans that, like, in a vacuum, this is a good deal, but I wanted Bo.
Is he going to DH too? Like, you got Vlad.
They got Bo. Well, you talking about Bo, or are you talking about Okamoto? You got George Springer there. Also, they just signed Anthony Santander to 5 years a year ago. So is that just like a wash of a contract? So they have several DH options already in house, right?
Unless they think they can make Okamoto work at third base. Because otherwise I don't really, I mean, this is not the just Blue Jays, but it's just from a baseball perspective, it is like really interesting as a fit for me.
So Ernie Clement, postseason hero, is their second baseman right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then Andres Jimenez, former Met legend, is like maybe the best defensive shortstop in baseball, is their shortstop. Vlad at first. And so I assumed watching this, or this happened, that Okamoto was their third base option. Because I thought if they're signing Bichette, Bichette's coming here to play third base or not play second is the point, or not shortstop is the point. I gotta be honest. I took this as we're moving on from blank, and their only hole I see in their everyday lineup is a potential Nathan Lucas option, and that's where the Kyle Tucker sweepstakes currently sit. That they're the favorite, and who knows where that sweepstakes eventually ends up. But I thought I received this news as they're out of the Bo Bichette running. Personally, I don't know what if another move, a corresponding move comes that opens up, like a Jimenez trade or an early commit trade to open it up, maybe. But yeah, that's how I received it. Significantly more connected to the Mets is look, the Okamoto thing. I think the Mets not getting involved is just a strong endorsement of Brett Beatty as our third baseman. Anybody else than Pete Alonso at first base as their option, like that'll come up later in the pod, but I don't think they looked at him as especially for 4 years, a necessary investment for first base. And then the Imai conversation. So it being the Astros, I think this takes them, I don't know if they ever were in the re-signed Valdez conversation, right? So now this really opens Valdez up to like going someplace else. I'm starting to wonder, in the same context that you said, are the Mets looking for him on a similar contract, but higher AAV, but there's opt-outs after 1 and 2 years. Like, here's a 3-year deal and opt out after 1. And we get to just kind of play it that way. Like, you get to revisit free agency when maybe the go the same route that a lot of your counterparts and colleagues have gone. So that's my hope, is that they're looking for something a little more proven, a little more major league ready than Imai. And yeah, I told you many times I was very fascinated by his major league prospects, especially at where he is as in his age, and what the YouTube compilations will show me. But I can't leave this and say the Mets missed out on something when there's just no evidence to say that he's going to translate to the majors as like it would with others, you know?
And if he does, he's going to be a free agent in 11 months.
Exactly.
And you get another shot at it. If he looks like Yoshinobu Yamamoto, which probably won't happen, but if it does, you can throw a bunch of money at him next December because he's going to opt out, of course.
Is Imai a Boris client?
Oh, boy, I don't think he is.
No, it was Suzuki that was a Boris client, right? I think
he's not a Boris client.
He's not a Boris client.
I'm not sure what his agency is, but when I did the free agency guide, I put a tag on Boris guys, and Imai was not one of those guys.
This now sets up for a vast free agent market for pitching, starting pitching next offseason, with Skubal hitting free agency and Imai potentially hitting free agency. If Valdez is a 1+1, him hitting free agency. I don't know what the lockout or potential work stoppage is going to mean for all of this. If all of these big market teams are going to be looking at different financial capabilities, but we'll see. We'll see.
The other thing before we move on,
please.
The Imai signing, which I think is a potentially interesting impact on the Mets, is there's been lots of rumors about the Astros needing to shed some salary. They just added a decent amount per season. I think you said the floor was $18 million a year, but it could go up with Imai. They probably won't re-sign Valdez now, so they save some money there. But it does make me like Brian Windhorst meme about Christian Walker. And he had a pretty bad first year with the Astros last year, but is a power hitting first baseman who plays really good defense. He's a right-handed hitter, and I think some people would potentially bet on him bouncing back. If they're looking to get out of the last 2 years and give or take $40 million of that deal, is that something the Mets would jump in on? Is that a potential solution for them at first base? There's another impact of the Imai signing there that I think could be very interesting for this team.